Hi everyone, welcome back to another tutorial. So today we're going to be looking at question 13 from tutorial sheet 3. So if you have not yet subscribed to the channel, kindly do so that you don't miss out whatever that I'm going to be posting on this channel. Alright, so our question is here saying solve each of the following. The question is saying solve each of the following, and then the questions are x squared minus 3x minus 2 in absolute value symbols. So what I'll do is I'll solve A and C, because I know to say once I solve A and C, the probability of you getting a question wrong on such a will be lessened, and it may even be 0, because these questions are simple. So the first question here is saying x squared minus 3x minus 2 is equal to 0. So what you should understand when you talk about absolute value symbols here is that when you have the absolute value of -2, the answer will give you +2. Even after having the absolute value of +2, you still get the answer, which is 2. What does this imply? This implies to say whatever that is in the brackets here can either be a negative or a positive. What do we mean? So this simply means that x squared minus 3x minus 2 is equal to, so it can either be equal to +2 or it's going to be equal to -2. So basically this is how you solve these questions. They are simple, you don't have to be stressing to solve them. So -2. So what you do here now is just a matter of you solving the quadratic equations. So what you do is you take these two to the other side of the equal sign, meaning you are going to have x squared minus 3x, then this will be -2 minus 2, you get -4, being equal to 0. Same applies to this part here. You do the same, x squared minus 3x minus 2 plus 2, so we're going to have a +0 this side, which is just the same as not just including it. Okay, so here what we now do is we solve the quadratic equation. So how do we solve the quadratic equation? We know you can either use factorization method, you can use completing the square method, or the formula method, or just inspection. For those that are clever, they can even use inspection. Alright, so what follows now? You find the product. The product will be -4, and then the sum will be -3. So what numbers can we add to give us -3? And then when we multiply them, we get -4. And I think it's 1 and -4. So we can put them there, meaning 1 and -4 are our factors. So we put +1 there, which is just going to be represented by x, and then -4 there. So we write it that way. Then we factorize now. So we're going to have x plus 1 there. Sorry for that. So we're going to have x plus 1, and then we say -4 is common there. Then you have x plus 1 again there, which is equal to 0. And then so you write your x plus 1 in brackets, x minus 4 in brackets like that. Then when you equate these to 0, you are going to find your x value to be equal to -1, and then another x value will just be equal to +4. So same applies to this other part. You do the same. So this one you factorize just from here. Okay, so you are going to have x minus 3 when you factorize x there, being equal to 0. So our x will either be equal to 0, or our other x will just be equal to, when you take this -3 to the other side of the equal sign, you get +3. So basically these are the answers for this question. Let's quickly move on to the next question. So this one, the next question, you solve it in the same way that I've solved this one. The structure of the question is just the same. So you first make the positive of this, you write the positive of this equation, and then you come also and write the negative of this equation, a negative, yeah, part of that equation. So we quickly move on to the next question, which is this one. How do you solve such a question? So this one is solved basically in the same way as we solved the previous question. So the only difference that will be there is that we have, the only difference that is there is that we have two quadratic equations being equated, which is not actually going to be a problem to us. Why? Because we know how to solve it. It's simple. So we are going to have something like this. So I'll write this. First I'll write the positive part of this equation. So this is what I'm going to have. So I'll write my positive part of that equation. Then my negative part of this equation will also be like this. I'll write this, the first part, the way it is. And then this other part I'll make it negative. Okay, so here it's just a matter of pairing the like terms. After pairing the like terms, you solve the quadratic equation. So when you say this 3x squared minus x, you're going to have, or minus x squared, you're going to have 2x squared. Then this x minus 4x, you're going to have negative 3x. And then this negative 2, this 1 plus 2, we're going to have 3. So this is equated to 0. You also find the product and the sum for that equation, and then if you can't find the product and the sum, you can use the formula method to find the roots, rather the solutions to this equation. So it's simple. We all know how to solve the quadratic equation. Let's move on to this part. This part again, you do the same. So this other part now, you multiply it through by negative. So this will be negative 3x squared. We'll have negative x. We have negative 1. So you pair the like terms. When this 3x goes to the other side of the equal sign, we're going to have 4x squared. When this negative x goes to that side, we're going to have 5x. Then when this negative 1 comes to this side, we're going to have minus 1, being equal to 0. So this is another equation that you have. So basically what you do, you just solve these two quadratic equations and find the values of x, which are going to satisfy this this equation. Thank you very much for watching today's tutorial. Kindly subscribe to the channel if you have not yet subscribed to the channel. Alright, see you in the next tutorial video.